Joink. Beep, beep. Good morning, everybody, and welcome to this thing that we like to call Movie Mondays with Matt. Plus, I'm your host, whether you like it or not, Matt Rasmussen, a.k.a. The Morning Show Director here, a.k.a. Local Filmmaker, a.k.a. The King of Halloween, a.k.a. host of Movie Mondays with Matt. And today's our Top Gun episode, but we're going to get to that in a minute. We have a lot of amazing stuff to talk about. First, we have a very busy man here today who is a local legend. And he's so legendary, they cast him to play a very legendary role in a show that's taking place right now. And I'd love to introduce you to Mr. Brian Matuszack.
Oh, thank you.
Local legend himself. So let's have you introduce yourself. Tell us everything. What do we need to know about you?
Well, everything. Brian Matuszack, I grew up in Duluth, or outside of Duluth rather, about a half hour north of here. Went to school at UMD for a year for theater. Didn't like it, dropped out. Not UMD's fault, my fault. Went to UWS, found my way into theater, loved theater, graduated from there. Everything good about my life is from UWS. I met my wife there. I met a lot of great people that are still my friends in that theater program over there. John Munsell was the theater director at the time, was my mentor, and really helped me get started in this. And then, from there, graduated. Worked in all the media in this town. I've worked at all the TV stations. Well, I guess not quite all, but almost all. I worked at some radio, worked in some advertising, so I got to learn a lot about that. But at the same time, I pursued my passion in theater. I've worked with every theater company in town. I've started 2 different theater companies, and my current one is Rubber Chicken Theater. We've been around since 2008, and that leads us right up to our current production of An Act of God.
Man, that is a good history in time there. And I came into the story, and in 2008 is when I first met you in UWS, and it was one of my favorite shows we've ever done, which was, of course, Rumpelstiltskin.
Yep. Fantastic.
You're too nice. You're too nice. So I met you originally from there, but I had seen you on the scene prior to that, and I'd like to show you a little something fun I found here. Let's see if I can find the correct thing here. Here it is. So this is where I first saw Mr. Brian Matuszack. Back in 1995, this was a little commercial starring Brian Matuszack that we aired on our station here. What can you tell us about this commercial?
Yeah, this was great. I worked at Channel 6 back in the day, and they were very gracious and used to let me do promotions like this for shows I had going on. And that was, with Renegade Comedy Theater. We did a summer review, I believe, that summer. And
talk about it for years.
A very silly thing.
Got to put this on pause here. That's leading into our next thing. All right, we will go back on cam for just a minute. So I used to see those little ads run in 1995, and I was like, what a crazy guy this guy is. Like, I want to be like this guy. So how did you wind up in little shorts like that?
Little shorts. Like I said, creative services is what it was called at the time back here at Channel 6. Maybe it still is. But we had a great group of folks. And they're very creative, and they used to help me out and stuff like that. We have another one that I don't know if it exists anymore, but we did a summer review takeoff of The Last Action Hero. We called it The Laugh Action Hero.
No way.
And shout out to Mike Hansen and Dan Zimmerman, a couple guys who used to work here. They put together a fantastic promo for me, but it would look like I was falling down exploding elevator shafts, and I had my rubber chicken, and it was The Laugh Action Hero. That was great. But yeah, they used to let us just do that. We do obviously get our work done, and then they let us have some fun with stuff like that. And then they give me some airtime because we were a nonprofit, and so it was nice for everybody. Worked out great. But yeah, those things were fun.
Man, okay, so how about An Act of God? Let's get into that. First, how did this come to be? And secondly, why have you not played God prior? You should always play God.
I was going to say, some people think I have played God before. But yeah, this show is called An Act of God. It's a play by David Javerbaum as the playwright. He worked for The Daily Show. He was a writer for The Daily Show.
No way.
Yeah. So that's why it's hilarious. But I had heard of it last year in the cities. A theater company had done it, and I just ran across the review, and I said, that sounds funny. So I ordered it and read it, and it is hilarious. But yeah, the premise is that God has come back down because he's tired of the Ten Commandments. He's grown weary of them. So he's come up with a new set of Ten Commandments that he wants to share with the people of Duluth. And he goes through, that's what the play is all about, basically. And it is such a fascinating play, and I like it, and you could speak to it because you saw it yourself, man. But, not only is it hysterical, but it makes you really think about some big-time issues because it doesn't get much bigger than God and religion and all the things that come intertwined with that. So it makes you think, and it actually is a little bit touching, I think, at the end. And, makes you, it's telling you, believe in yourself. Don't rely on anyone else, which I think is a powerful message. So it resonated with me, and I said, you know what, I want to do this show. And I actually, for Rubber Chicken Theater, I loved it because it's a small cast and a small set. Those are always the best. Yeah, those are always the best. But I just wanted to do it as part of Rubber Chicken season. And then a friend of mine, Shani Ninneman, who runs Wise Fool Theater, Shakespeare company here in Duluth, she said, you should play this. And I thought, well, I guess I should. That sounds like a fun idea. I hadn't done a show for a long time, since actually for Shani. We did the Scottish play for us, and I got to play the title role in that, and that was fantastic. But that was, like 12 years ago. I hadn't been on stage that long, and so I did kind of miss it, I'll admit that. And so this seemed like a fun opportunity to come back and have some fun with a fantastic script and make it all about me with God.
Not only was it one of the funniest shows I've ever seen, I think you were perfectly cast in it. The thing that blew my mind is, like, having been in shows, like, it's tough to memorize lines. Mm-hmm. And you went for an hour and a half with no break. There were like a couple of little pauses here and there when your co-stars get to step in for just a minute, but there were no breaks. You never left the stage. There weren't cue cards for you. I saw you did not have an earpiece in, so nobody was leading you along with what was. How did you keep on script? I never would have been able to. Like that. That is what boggles my mind.
Yeah, well, this play is written in such a way, it's actually a little bit easier. You break it down to the 10 Commandments. So, okay, here we're talking about the first commandment and what it is in the play, and the second and the third and so forth. And then within that, you just kind of take it one at a time. You say, okay, this is this monologue, and you memorize it, and this is this monologue, and you memorize it, and then you figure out ways to kind of connect them. At least this is how I do it. And you kind of figure out ways to connect them. And you also have fantastic, you had mentioned my co-stars, Chris Nolet, fantastic theater veteran, been on stage forever here in Duluth, and Tate Hagelin-Pagel plays the other archangel, and he also is fantastic. Yeah, they're there. But Chris, it's nice. Chris is the other one who never leaves the stage. Tate goes on and off and does some things, but Chris more than once has saved my bacon when you just, in the last opening weekend, which went fantastic, but something will come up you hadn't anticipated, and that's actually part of the fun of live theater. It's getting that audience this is the final part, and then it becomes theater because there's an interaction with your audience. But I think it was opening night, but yeah, I just, for whatever reason, there was a laugh, and I wasn't expecting one, and then that's all it took, and I kind of was like, uh-oh. And I went to pour some wine to kind of buy myself some time. And then Chris stepped in, obviously, and saved me and said, I think you're on numero cinco, the fifth commandment. I went, yes, thank you. And then we went on. But that's how you do it. You just break it down little by little and figure out how to connect it and make it make sense. And then you just kind of get out of the way and go on the journey. And that's what I'm doing. So.
And here are all the details on the screen here for those folks that haven't gotten the pleasure of going out and seeing this amazing show. It is still going.
One more weekend.
Yeah, one more weekend. And is there anything that audience goers need to know going into this show?
They just need to have an open mind. And I think it's actually fun if you are, even if religion is something very important in your life, and that's cool, that's good for you. But I think this is a play that you want to come, because it's fun sometimes to have those beliefs challenged a little bit. And that, it strengthens those beliefs, I think. And this show does all of that. It really makes you think about, as I said, everything involved with God and religion and the big issue, big policy, controversial topics, all get touched on in a way that I think is appealing to everyone. And so far, that's been the case. We got one more weekend to find out if that will continue to be the case for Twin Ports audiences. I hope so.
Yeah, no complaints as of yet, I would imagine. I think everything was handled very well as far as, yes, there were some funny, controversial things that came up, and they're done with just that sprinkle of humor. Well, not even the overarching humor that just kind of it gives you this idea that God himself is a funny being, and he has a sense of humor about these things. And some of the explanations that came up kind of made sense. And I was like, what if this is actually just how this is? I think there is a lot of humor in it that even the most diehard critic could find. I think everything was handled well. Anything more that we need to know about this amazing show?
Like I said, I think that covers it. Just come on down. I like to mention too. My mom, when she was around, would have come to see this because she loved me and supported me. And she would have laughed and had a good time, and then she would have gone immediately to confession right after. And then maybe that's what a lot of audience members are doing. But it's a great show. I hope people come and see it. I really do enjoy sharing this kind of stuff with Northland audiences. You don't see these types of shows a lot. With other theater companies, and that's fine. They have their own missions, things they want to do. And one of the things that I think Rubber Chicken Theater should do is not only make you laugh, but make you think, and there's nothing wrong with that. So that's what I want to have happen with An Act of God this Friday and Saturday night at 7:30, Sunday at 2 p.m.
Man, well said, all of that, yes. Man, so Rubber Chicken has been kicking around for a while. So what are the plans for the future? What's next after Act of God?
Well, the next thing we've got coming up is June 13th, and that is called our Chicken Hat Plays, and I'm very excited to announce that Matt Rasmussen has already committed to taking part this time. He hasn't done one yet. And what that is we create 8 one-act plays in 24 hours. So we get 8 writers, 8 directors, and a whole bunch of actors, which you're going to be one of our actors.
Yeah.
And we have a kickoff event Friday night, and we put a who, a what, and a where hat out. And everybody throws prompts into them, and it could be whatever. And then our writers step forward, and they draw one of each. And then I tell them how many people are in their cast, because by that point I know how many actors are involved. So I say, so you've got to work in that who, that what, and that where, and you've got to work in, 2 men and 1 woman, or however it works out. 3 people in your cast. And then they go home or somewhere. I guess they don't have to go home. They can go wherever they'd like, but they have to show up Saturday morning at 8:30 a.m. sharp with a script that incorporates all of those prompts and for that cast. And then from there, the directors come forward, and they draw the scripts out of a hat. And then everybody goes to town. The directors and the writers are done at that point, but the directors and actors then take over. And all day Saturday, you're learning lines, you're finding props, you're finding costumes. And then at 7:30 that night, ready or not, we've got 8 brand new one-act plays to debut to Northland audiences. And that's always a lot of fun. And that's Saturday, June 13th, like I said. And that's going to be at Harbor City School International Theater, where Shani Ninneman, our good friend from Wiseful, also works. And so she's also instrumental in getting that off the ground.
Man, I'm very excited for this because...
I'm excited to have you do it. It's going to be fantastic.
Oh, thank you, Brian.
Because it's like rehearsed improvisation is what we say. I mean, you have to be unafraid, which you are.
Oh, yeah, that's
and
true.
you have to be just, I'm getting through this show. It's obviously people sometimes go up. I mean, you've only got that day. But the audiences for this show, I should have mentioned too, are the most supportive audiences you'll ever be in front of, because they know the pressure of the day. They know what you've been through. So as long as an actor just doesn't go, I don't know, and walk off stage, they're going to love you. And you're going to be perfect for it.
Oh, thank you for saying so, my friend. Like, I've never been on this side of things before, because I did do something similar to this way back in college. It was in Misabi, we called it like the 24-hour lock-in or something, and I was the writer-director for that specific thing, and I had to tell my actors how things were going to go. So now, I'll be on the other side of the equation, and that'll be fun to see.
Absolutely, you're going to be great.
Ah, thank you, my friend. Anything else we need to know about you before we let you? I mean, you are God himself. You got a lot going on. Is there anything else more we need to know?
I think looking forward to the end of the year. We have our annual Christmas show, Sketch Comedy Review, where we kind of take a look back at all the things that have happened or will have happened in 2026, and we do sort of like a local version of Saturday Night Live, and that's always fun too, and people can look forward to that. They do look forward to that. We always sell them out. People enjoy that, and that'll be our next thing. We'll be taking the rest of the summer and the fall off to take a breather because, learning an hour and a half show and my voice. That's the other thing I found. I'm looking forward to, this is fine, but I'm looking forward to the next few days not talking because I have to keep this voice ready to go for Friday, Saturday, and Sunday.
Oh, man alive. Well, I think on that note, maybe we should let you rest your voice for the rest of the day. It is indeed Memorial Day today, so let's go out and find some way to pay respects to that amazing holiday. So thank you so much for coming on here today, Brian. I appreciate you taking the time. You have a lot of fan mail to answer upstairs. I'm sure you get an awful lot of prayers that need to go answered as well. And so we're going to give Brian a little break here, and when we come back, we'll get into some of this Top Gun-related stuff, and I'll talk about what all these props are, and then I'll tease ahead to next week a little bit. So, yay! Thanks for tuning in to part 1 here. Stick around, everybody, and we'll be right back in a few minutes.